Hey everybody, it's Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so just like every other week, today we're going to be going all in on shadow work. And today I want to be talking about shadow work and the aura, and what it is that you need to know about how shadow work can really help you amplify and boost your aura. So for those of you guys who are new to my world, I'm Danielle Massi, licensed psychotherapist and intuitive shadow worker. And I've been doing this work now for years. And what I find as I go through and do this work over and over with all the different clients that I work with is that shadow work is the key to expansion. Shadow work is the key to changing your life. And so this work is something really sacred and really powerful, and I'm excited to share it with you all, especially those of you who are totally new to what shadow is. So let's just begin with the basics, right? Let's start with talking about what your shadow is. The shadow is anything that lies within the unconscious. It's anything that you're not aware of. And so every time that information is processed, every time you pull new information in just by experiencing your world, it comes in, you see it, or you hear it, or smell it, or taste it, however it is that the information is coming in, and your brain has to process it. And what it does is it processes, it sorts. And it sorts this information based on past experiences that you've had. So if it's something brand new, your brain goes, ooh, this is brand new, I've never seen this before, let's put this into this novelty section and let's remember it, because we've never experienced that before. If it's something you've seen 1,000 times, your brain is like, whatever, we've seen that, sort that into, we've done this before, right? The brain is constantly sorting. Think about even how we see this in kids, right? Kids as young as 2 or 3 years old can gender sort clothing and toys. But gender is a construct. It's not even a real thing. And so just based on their experiences where certain colors have been deemed boy colors or girl colors, they will sort toys and clothes. Except where did those colors even come from? Who decided that pink was a girl's color and blue was a boy's color? In fact, it used to be the opposite. Blue used to be a women's color, and up until the 1940s or 50s, young girls were dressed in blue. It's why early Disney characters have blue dresses, like Cinderella and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. And some of you might go, well, Sleeping Beauty had a pink dress. That's actually not true. Since Disney has tried to rebrand her to make her more girly, because pink is now a girl's color, which back then, back in the 40s or 50s, pink was a boy's color. It was considered like a pastel version of red. So all that it takes to change our brains, to change how we store things, is our experiences. And our experiences will completely shift the way that our brain wires itself. And so here's where the shadow becomes important. The shadow is anything that's unconscious. And so as this information comes in and is being sorted, the brain takes some of it and stores it into the unconscious. Essentially what's happening when this goes on is that the brain deems certain information either too boring that it isn't really necessary. It might deem it as something that's too traumatic, that it feels like you might get hurt. Or it might just put it in there for some other unknown reason. And so things get sorted into that space. Things get put into the unconscious, especially traumas. Because the brain goes, oof, this is too much for this person. We don't want them to have to deal with it. We don't want them to have to process it. So let's just leave this over here. The tricky thing about that, though, is for anyone who has experienced a trauma, and I don't know how many of you guys watching live have, the brain can sort, and the brain can go, this unconscious trauma can stay here in the closet and not be dealt with, but the body does not have that capability. When your body experiences something, it doesn't have the ability to forget it or compartmentalize it. It still feels it. And so if you got into an accident on your bicycle when you were 8 years old and you kind of sliced open your leg and had to get stitches and it was horrible, your brain might black out that moment. Your brain has the capability to go, ooh, let's not recall that because that was too damaging, that was too intense for this little 8-year-old brain. We can't go there. But your body doesn't forget. And so anytime you see a bicycle, or if you experience something kind of slicing in the back of your leg, what might happen is that your whole body might freeze and go into what's known as fight or flight. Fight or flight, or fight, flight, freeze, for those of you guys who are a little more up on it, is just the body's mechanism for survival. There's a big long nerve that runs down the back of your body from the base of your spine all the way up to the base of your brain. That's called the vagus nerve. And this nerve sends messages from the brain to the body. And so we have the brain on one hand going, nothing's happening, nothing to see here, that's happening up here. And then your body going, help, help, help. We're freaking out. And these two messages are not connecting. The body is telling you one thing and the brain is going, we don't know why that's happening, don't ask us. Don't bring it up. And so what happens for so many of us is we have things that are traumatic happen to us when we were younger. And then as adults, we can't figure out why certain things trigger us. We can't understand why we're constantly being re-triggered, constantly being re-traumatized, because our brain won't let us in on the secret. Our brain won't tell us why this is happening to us. And it truly is meant to be an evolutionary safety feature, where if you don't know what it is, then you don't have to be upset. But this is like about as good of advice as seeing parents who are trying to get divorced, who are like, let's just stay together for the kids. We'll wait until they go to college and then we'll deal with it. But then your whole life you experience parents who don't love each other and everybody's so aware and the tension sucks and they fight all the time. And it's like you don't know what's going on, but you know that something is really wrong. That's sort of the equivalent, right? Your body is screaming at you that something is wrong. And your brain is telling you everything is fine. That's why shadow work is important. So shadow work is the process of kind of opening that whole unconscious and cracking it wide open and going, what the hell is hiding in here? So that we can start to reconnect to this brain and body connection. So that we can start putting these pieces back together so that they make sense again. So that all of a sudden when you start to feel your body go into that panic where it feels like you start to shut down or your breathing gets really rapid or your heart is just pounding out of your chest and you go, oh, I understand why now. And it's okay. Because as an adult, I can process that information better than I could have when I was a child. I can just understand it better. Now, this isn't just childhood stuff, though. It can also be things that happen when you're an adult. So say you have a horrible illness in your 20s, or you go through your own divorce, or horrible separation in a relationship, or one of your parents disowns you when you're an adult because of whatever reason. Those can also end up in your unconscious. But what ends up happening when it's an adult thing, because your brain's a little bit more sophisticated at that point, is that these become blackout memories, where you just lose chunks of time. It's like selective amnesia, where you just black out certain periods of time. So let's say you had a really, really bad case of COVID-19. What might happen is 2 years from now, you might be missing days or weeks of the time where someone asks you, like, do you remember when we all came over and you had this going on and you passed out walking up the stairs? And you go, no, I don't remember that at all. But when they start talking about it, you might get tightness in your chest. You might feel a lump in your throat because your body didn't forget it. Your mind didn't either. It just stored it away. It just put it into that unconscious area. So let me know if this is making sense for you guys who are watching live. Post in the comments. Let me know if you're all keeping up with it so that we're all on the same page. And if you are, I'm going to just keep plowing forward to give you more goods. So here's where shadow work gets really fun, right? Because shadow work is not all dark and doom and gloom. It gets a bad rap because it sounds scary and because it's dealing with trauma. But what happens when we do this shadow work is that you end up becoming magnetic. You end up amplifying your own aura. So for those of you who don't know what the aura is, your aura is like an electrical field that extends out of your body. Most people have an aura that extends out just a few inches to just a couple of feet. But people who are really prominent, people who are really magnetic, their aura extends out many feet. It can extend up to 30 to 35 feet for someone who is really, really in tune with themselves, really aligned, eating clean, doing their spiritual work, doing all their shadow work. And so the aura is how we do anything. It's how we find a partner. It is how we find a job. It's how we sell ourselves to other people, because you guys all know that person who, when they walk in the room and everybody's head turns and you're like, wow, what do they have going on? What is it? It's their aura. Our aura is how we attract people in. It's how we become magnetic. The aura has 4 layers: the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. And each of these different layers of the aura has its own job. And it also contains some of the stuff that exists within our body. And so think about what I was just saying about that brain-body connection and trauma. If you have blocks where your body and your brain are disconnected and you remember trauma in the body, but you don't remember it in the mind, that is getting clogged up in your aura. That's actually getting stuck in there, right? It's just getting stuck in your aura. And so in your business, you're trying to do everything you can to promote the hell out of it and get people to come in, and they're not being pulled in the way that you want them to. You're not attracting them in with the vigor that you want to. And when that happens, that's a pretty clear indicator that something in the aura is blocked up, something is stopping it. And so when we do shadow work, when we actually go in and we open up these unconscious memories and pull them to the surface, we're not just opening them for the sake of opening them. We're opening them to heal these moments in time. And when we do, what we're doing is we're doing a little bit of neural reprogramming, where we're changing the way that your brain processes it, so it's not stored in the unconscious anymore. It's now a part of your brain's neural pathway unit that exists that you can access and pull from whenever you want to. But we're also strengthening that connection between the brain and the body using the vagus nerve. And so as we open it up, we're calming your body down. We're making sure that you feel at peace and at ease. Because as we do this, we're making sure that the trauma that existed within your body is no longer trauma in your body. Now when you recall that memory, instead of it having this intense physical response, all you're going to feel is that ease. You're going to feel that relaxation. And so in your aura, as this stuff gets cleared out, it's almost like, imagine like there's a bubble around you with just like floating bits of debris. We're like pulling the debris out. And as we pull that debris out, your aura can expand because there's nothing junking it up. There's nothing clogging it. And so without doing anything else, without doing any advertising, without doing any sales, without putting yourself out there in any way that you normally wouldn't, what tends to happen after shadow work is that people tend to make more money. They tend to find the right partners, the partner that they should have been with the whole time, or the partner that they've been searching for that they didn't think existed. Life becomes more easy because there's no disconnect. There's nothing that's being blocked or hidden from you. And overall, it's like being able to breathe like fresh air for the first time. One of my clients who's actually on here right now, one of the girls in the Create Your Light Academy from this round, she was talking about fear and how she's been afraid of so many things throughout her life, and how just after a few weeks of doing shadow work, she doesn't feel that fear as intensely anymore. Like even just being in her home alone at nighttime, which would have freaked her out in the past, didn't freak her out anymore. Because as we pull this stuff out of the shadow, we're making space for love and light and all things good. We align your body. We create reason for things. And so you don't have to worry anymore about what is hidden from you, because you can access everything. There's nothing hidden from you anymore. You can tap into this unconscious space and pull it forward and go, why is this happening to me? Let's spell it out. And I used to have that happen for myself. I used to be terrified of so much. There was so much fear. But it's because of all those unconscious traumas that I had that I needed to work through to understand why my body was reacting that way, why it was that I was having all these intense physical and emotional reactions to things that I couldn't figure out what the link was. Like, what is the common denominator? What's the cause? And the cause is my unconscious, the stuff that was hidden there. And once I figured out how to access it and to pull it up and to deal with it, my life changed drastically. And so that's all I want for you. That's all I want for anyone that I come in contact with. Shadow work has been magic for me. And it's magic that is rooted in science, and it's magic that is life-changing. And so if I could give anyone anything, it would be the gift of shadow work. Because when you do this and when you heal these parts of yourselves, everything is just lighter, it is easier, it is better. And so we'll leave it at that for today. And then I'm excited to pop back in here next week and talk to you guys more. I think I want to talk about past lives next week. So I want to hear from you guys. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. I've been doing a lot of past life readings this week. And so kind of in the zone, all in the past life stuff. So let me know what you think. Comment here on the Instagram post, because this live is going to be right in my Instagram post. For those of you guys watching on Facebook, comment in the comments section and let me know how that sounds. And I'll see you all in 1 week. Bye, everybody.